First tonight at 5, 45 days after the Abundant Life shooting, one of the students injured that day is heading home. We'll have an update. And tracking the origins of addiction, how a UW study could help in the fight against opioid abuse. And we'll tell you how and why the mascots at Madison's 4 biggest public high schools will soon be getting new looks. You're watching News 3 Now at 5. And good evening. I'm Eric Franke. Thanks for joining us. We begin with some breaking news from the Wisconsin Supreme Court. Conservative Justice Brian Hagedorn telling us he is recusing himself from the landmark Act 10 case that the court is set to hear later this year. That case will decide the future of the 2011 law that eliminated many collective bargaining rights for public sector unions in Wisconsin. That law, the biggest achievement of former Republican Governor Scott Walker's tenure, during which time Hagedorn was Governor Walker's chief legal counsel. He also helped defend the law in court. This recusal gives liberals a 4-2 majority on this case. Republican lawmakers are calling on another liberal justice, Janet Protasiewicz, to recuse herself from this case. All right, now to a look at our first warn forecast. Unseasonably warm out there. Alex, did we break a record?
We sure did. We shattered records across all of southern Wisconsin. Upper 50s, some cases near 60 degrees. Let's get right to the graphics because this tells the story. Our normal high right now, 27. The high temperature that we saw at the airport in Madison, 57. Get this. That's the high temperature that you would expect in the middle of April. And here are some of these other high temperatures today. 60 in Boscobel, 60 in Prairie du Chien, 55 in Monroe, 55 in Janesville, and 57 to the north in the Dells. We still got 56 in Boscobel, still at 53 in Madison, and 50 in Janesville. It's a mild evening. You might even want to consider maybe dusting off the grill and grilling out tonight, considering how unprecedentedly mild it is with temperatures between 53 and 55 across Dane County. Planning our evening, clouds will eventually fill in. I see a few here behind me on the patio as we approach the later evening hours. Clouds will fill in a bit more as temperatures fall down into the 30s, which is still warmer than our normal high temperature for this time of year. And some showers, according to FutureTrack, getting closer to the Wisconsin-Illinois border. Will they make it to Madison? I have the answer in a few minutes.
Alex, thank you. One of the students hurt in the Abundant Life Christian School shooting has been released from the hospital. A UW spokesperson says the student is now recovering at home. Another student is still at the hospital and is said to be in good condition. 2 people died during the shooting. Another 6 were injured. The shooter, a 15-year-old girl, took her own life during the shooting. Next at 5, crews continue their work to recover plane crash victims at our nation's capital. Authorities say 67 people died when an Army Black Hawk helicopter and a passenger jet collided near Reagan National Airport last night. Among the jet's passengers, several athletes, coaches, and family members returning from a development camp with U.S. figure skating. At the White House, President Donald Trump addressed the tragedy.
I put safety first. Obama, Biden, and the Democrats put policy first. The FAA's diversity and inclusion hiring plan, which says diversity is integral to achieving FAA's mission of ensuring safe and efficient travel. I don't think so.
This morning, the president appointed a former senior aviation official as the FAA's acting administrator. That role had been left empty after resignations ahead of Trump taking office. The American Civil Liberties Union of Wisconsin celebrating the Dane County Sheriff's Office's decision to withdraw from the State Criminal Alien Assistance Program, or SCAP. Last night, Sheriff Calvin Barrett announced his intentions to leave the program. SCAP partially reimburses state and municipal governments for the cost of incarcerating certain undocumented people who have certain criminal convictions. Sheriff Barrett says by cutting ties with the program, they hope to make Dane County's immigrant community feel safer. UW-Madison pausing some spending after President Trump's rescinded memo put a pause on federal spending grants. A message from the university says questions and concerns remain related to that executive order. The university adds it will not commit to new obligations or job offers on existing federal awards and will limit discretionary non-personnel commitments on federal funds and also coordinate with federal agencies related to stop work orders and delays on payments. A new study by the UW School of Medicine and Public Health could help doctors in the fight against the opioid crisis across the country. Between 2014 and 2018, opioid overdose deaths within the state rose by 46%. That's according to a report from the Wisconsin DHS. While most deaths come from drugs obtained illegally, initial exposure could occur through a prescription for pain medication. Researchers with UW found that pairing CDC guidelines and de-implementing certain primary care strategies led to a 6% decrease in daily opioid doses, reducing the amount of opioids prescribed.
The evidence, I think, is showing that it might be time to turn the page to these more, kind of process-oriented and paternalistic approaches to more patient-centered approaches that really pay attention to the whole person and how pain is interfering with life and how we can improve quality of life and so forth.
Well, the study's findings are promising. Researchers are acknowledging that helping people effectively manage chronic pain is a problem that needs more work. Currently, the village of DeForest hearing public comments over whether or not the village should continue adding fluoride to its drinking water. We take a live look now at that meeting. Fluoride has been in the drinking water all across the U.S. now for over 75 years. Its use is backed by the CDC and the Wisconsin Department of Health Services. Some board members say keeping fluoride in the drinking water is not safe, and the village could save money by not having to replace aging equipment. The Madison Fire Department's CARES program will soon expand into Sun Prairie. The program will officially begin on Monday. CARES is a program that integrates medical health care at the onset of crisis intervention to address behavioral health emergencies. Sun Prairie Fire says during the first 4 months of 2024, they responded to a total of 42 incidents where people could have benefited from the CARES program.
Dispatch has the ability, now that CARES is going to extend service, they can reach out to CARES and kind of connect them with that individual if that's what the situation warrants. And so if it's a non-emergency or non-threatening kind of behavioral health situation, CARES can service that individual.
The city of Sun Prairie says under the current agreement, Sun Prairie will cover the cost of each CARES response. Sun Prairie is eligible to seek reimbursement from Dane County for up to 70% of what they pay to Madison. The reimbursement is available for the first 12 months of the program. Mascots are a big part of the high school experience. Now the Madison School District is in the process of updating mascot logos for its 4 largest public high schools. But some community members tell our Armand Rahman, if it ain't broke, why fix it?
Many of you probably know Reggie. He's the lion that's the mascot for West High School. This is what Reggie could look like, as MMSD is getting community feedback to change the mascots at all of their high schools.
It's not unique, it's clip art.
When it comes to art, everyone has their opinions.
Let's have a very strong looking, Reggie that will stand his ground and stick to his principles and protect his turf.
But this piece is Jeff Butler's turf in more ways than one.
It's all done as a labor of love.
The West High alum and UW art professor is the Rembrandt behind the current Reggie the Regent, designed in 2005.
I've never been paid a cent for this, and it's made a lot of money in apparel sales and merchandise sales over the years.
But now the district is in the process of updating Reggie and mascots at all the high schools.
The smart rebranding is the rebranding that's done one-to-one with an illustrator or a good character artist.
The district is working with BSN Sports and Varsity Brands to redesign the logos.
We do really want to make sure that we land on what that official mascot is and have some ownership so we can protect that image and really make it a consistent and a professional way that we can represent our schools.
You can vote on 3 redesign options for each school online.
And really, they're not final images.
But the original logos are not included.
And nothing's going to replace existing pieces.
For a lot of people, I've been hearing from so many people about this that are really kind of outraged.
Butler knows Reggie is his Mona Lisa.
Obviously, I'm biased.
But says the masterpiece should always come from the true regents.
It's not about me. It's not necessarily about that image, but it's about making sure that the community has a voice.
Reporting in Madison, Armand Rahman, News 3 Now.
District leaders say they're updating the logos after the 4 high schools were renovated as part of a 2020 referenda. Now, an existing contract with BSN Sports and their parent company, Varsity Brands, who gives them free apparel and uniforms for athletic teams, along with a rebrand. The online feedback surveys for the mascot options will be open until this coming Monday. Applications are now open for the City of Madison's 2025 Arts Grants. There are 3 types of grants that artists can apply for. The first are project grants, which provide up to $5,000 for education programs, exhibits, and performances. Legacy grants are up to $1,500 and support organizations that have received Madison Arts Commission funding for 3 out of the last 6 years. And individual fellowships. Artists can get up to $2,000 to advance their practice. Applications are due by March 1st. Some of music's biggest artists are coming together to raise money for those impacted by the devastating fires in Los Angeles. A staggering number of artists, songwriters, and musicians actually lost their homes, also their instruments and studios in those fires. Guitarist Emily Elbert, who has performed with Leon Bridges and Beyonce, lost her Altadena home to the Eaton fire, where she and her partner had lived for nearly 4 years.
That was when I knew that everything in my life had changed, but it was also the first of many, many acts of beautiful generosity that I've witnessed in the last couple weeks.
Billie Eilish, Lady Gaga, and Rod Stewart are set to take the stage at the Fire Aid Benefit Concert. You can stream the event for free on CBSNews.com, the CBS News app, and Paramount Plus. It has been nearly a week now since the Trump administration ordered a 90-day freeze on almost all foreign aid. On top of creating some confusion about which activities are impacted, sources say the suspension means some aid contractors are not being paid for work that they have already done. Contractors working with USAID often front money for aid work and get reimbursed later. There's also concern that other nations like China may step in to fill the void during the 90-day freeze. President Trump's Middle East envoy is in Tel Aviv visiting families of hostages who gathered to watch live video of Hamas releasing more Israeli captives. It is the third time now militants have let hostages go since a ceasefire took hold in the Gaza Strip earlier this month. In Tel Aviv, Israelis celebrated the homecoming of more hostages, but there is growing desperation for the return of the rest.
We need them all, the dead ones and the alive hostages, everybody back.
Now, the ceasefire deal has allowed truckloads of aid into the devastated Gaza Strip, where the war has created a long-running humanitarian crisis. The U.S. economy showed resiliency in 2024. The Commerce Department reporting the economy expanded 2.3% during the fourth quarter compared to the year before. That data based on gross domestic product measurements. Analysts say strong consumer spending and a healthy labor market helped fuel that growth. Many economists expect the U.S. economy will continue to flourish this year. After the break, Alex tells us about even more record-breaking warmth ahead of us this weekend and 3 confirmation hearings on Capitol Hill. The tough questions nominees faced from senators on both sides of the aisle. And on Wall Street today, the Dow surging more than 168 points. The Nasdaq up 49. S&P 500 gains 32. And we'll be right back.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5, moving forward.
A busy Capitol Hill hosted confirmation hearings for 3 of President Trump's nominees, and that includes another day of grilling Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in his push to become Health and Human Services Secretary. Meg Oliver has the story.
The Senate Health Committee's top Republican said he's struggling with Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s nomination.
That's my dilemma, man.
Senator Bill Cassidy is a physician and says he's concerned by Kennedy's misleading arguments about vaccines.
If you come out unequivocally, vaccines are safe, it does not cause autism, that would have an incredible impact.
But earlier, Kennedy said he'd first have to see the data.
If you show me data, I will be the first person to assure the American people that they need to take those vaccines.
Tulsi Gabbard asked senators to confirm her as Director of National Intelligence and defended her position on Russia.
I want to make certain that in no way does Russia get a pass in either your mind or your heart, or in any policy recommendation you would make or not make.
Senator, I'm offended by the question because my sole focus, commitment, and responsibility is about our own nation.
Trump loyalist Kash Patel faced questions on his nomination to lead the FBI.
And I've never once advocated for political violence or violence against law enforcement.
Democrats called his statements about January 6 defendants disqualifying.
I'm talking about his characterization of criminals who assaulted police officers as political prisoners.
While his nominees make their case to Congress, President Trump returned to a campaign theme, instructing schools to promote a patriotic education. An executive order threatens to withhold funding from schools that teach about gender ideology or critical race theory. Meg Oliver, CBS News, New York.
Well, with that record-breaking warmth today, plenty of folks are out and about enjoying the 50-degree weather while they can. And we spoke to several city residents to see how they were feeling about this warm January day.
Yeah, we're enjoying it, taking a walk, getting smoothies. Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's gorgeous, yeah. It's hard to stay inside and work.
It's typical Wisconsin weather. It's freezing last week. It's nice this week. Amazing to be outside.
I'm still wrapping my head around the fact that I saw so many people out on the ice in this warm weather, because I just moved up here from Austin, Texas. So that's something a little different.
Well, even more record-breaking warmth could be coming our way this weekend. Here's Alex, a full look at the forecast.
Yep, it's on its way, and I really want to emphasize here, I've been doing this for days. Our average high for this time of year, 27 degrees. That's the normal late January high temperature. The high temperature we saw in Madison today, 57, shattering those records, and that's what we would experience in the middle of April. So unprecedented temperature swings. And remember, a week ago, like one of those folks were saying, we had teens below zero for actual air temperatures, 40 below wind chills. And this is what we did today. 57 in Madison, 60 in Boscobel, and 60 in Prairie du Chien, 55 in Janesville. Again, shattering records across southern Wisconsin. Just take note of some of the locations. And these are just some as of 3 p.m. today that saw record highs from Madison to Milwaukee to Viroqua over towards Lone Rock. Going down in the history book today as a very, very warm day. Contrast this, Jan, thank you so much for sending me this postcard here. Guess what? Do you remember 1/30/1951? It was 37 below zero. Jan sends us this postcard. In stark contrast across southern Wisconsin with these extremely warm temperatures. 57 today. Eric said we got more record-breaking weather. We do. 48 by the time we get to Sunday. A high temperature of 51 back in 2020 was the previous record. 30s tonight. Normal highs again, upper 20s. So our lows tonight are going to be warmer than our normal high temperatures with maybe just a shower or two from Madison and points towards the south. As we go into Friday, back into the 40s, maybe 43 in Lone Rock, 43 in Baraboo, 40 in Madison, and 43 in Janesville. If we can clear the clouds, and I think we will, because Future Track is going to try to bring some showers up to Monroe, to Janesville, over towards Elkhorn at about 1 o'clock in the morning. The cloud deck gets as far north as Dane County to Lone Rock to Watertown. Those showers try to get up here, and then they fizzle out. I think most places will stay dry, and shower activity is the primary mode. We're not looking at heavy snow or ice accumulation across southern Wisconsin with this weather system. Now we'll fast forward here. Through the day Friday, skies turning partly sunny. As we go into Saturday, I want you to watch off to the west over here. Watch the snow shower activity break out as we go into Saturday evening. Heading towards Saturday, 8, 9, 10 o'clock, a line from Mineral Point up towards Marquette and Green Lake counties, a few snow showers that last into the very beginning of our Sunday. And as we get towards Sunday, 7, 8, 9 o'clock, of course, that's Groundhog's Day. Notice all the white across southern Wisconsin. The likelihood of it being cloudy on Groundhog's Day, at least during the morning, is looking pretty high. If we can break into sunshine, then we'll see those temperatures get up to around 48 degrees. Then we cool on down to values that are more normal for this time of year, with perhaps a wintry mix as we go towards Wednesday. Temperatures in the middle 30s. Once again here, these temperatures Friday all the way through the weekend at or above normal. Once we get out into next week, then we'll see temperatures go a little bit below normal. That roller coaster continues.
Alex, thank you. And after the break, you might want to buckle up for this trip to the past. We'll learn the history behind the landmark law that made seat belts a mainstay for many vehicles.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
Buckling up when getting in a car, something many of us do without even really thinking about it, but it wasn't always so. Bradley Blackburn has more on the landmark law that improved road safety some 40 years ago.
At the Vintage Automobile Museum of New Jersey, these cars have one thing in common.
Nothing to buckle, no safety measures.
None at all.
As founder John Mahoney explained, all these autos, from the 1939 Cadillac LaSalle to the Packard Single Six to the Ford Model T, were built before seatbelts were standard safety features.
Was safety even a concern?
No, I don't think so. I don't think safety was a concern because cars didn't go very fast anyway.
Starting in the 1960s, car makers were required by law to install seatbelts, but even then, many people didn't use them.
People thought that it'd be safer to be ejected from a car.
I think you should wear a seatbelt.
I
do too.
I don't like it. In January 1985, New York became the first state to require drivers and front seat passengers to use them or face a $50 fine.
Buckle up or else.
A highway survey found use went from 16% to 63% in months.
We've saved over 450,000 lives as a result of seatbelt technology.
David Harkey with the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety says today more than 90% of people nationwide wear seatbelts, but that means millions still do not.
When you look at the fatality numbers, what we find is almost half of the occupants who are killed in passenger vehicle crashes are not wearing that seatbelt.
Just look at the difference for a test dummy wearing a belt compared to one who's not.
Seatbelts are still the most important safety feature we have in a vehicle.
It's been a long road to get everyone to buckle up and save lives. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, Point Pleasant, New Jersey.
Health experts from several leading organizations are coming together urging parents to keep children away from caffeinated beverages. New guidelines say children and teens 5 to 18 should drink plain water and plain pasteurized milk daily while avoiding caffeine, sugary beverages, and flavored milk. The total amount of fluids a child should drink varies. On average, kids 5 to 8 should drink about 40 fluid ounces a day. If they're 9 to 13, that number's 61 fluid ounces. Those 14 to 18 should consume about 88 fluid ounces. We'll be right back. Final check of your First Warn forecast. A stomach-turning and mind-blowing fossil is found in Denmark. According to the country's Geo-Museum facts, an amateur paleontologist found 66-million-year-old fossilized vomit while walking along a cliff-lined coastal region. The find was later examined by experts who said it's believed to contain at least 2 species of lily plants. Experts say such disgusting discoveries like these provide important new knowledge about the relationship between predators and prey and ancient food chains. Never know what they'll find next. Well, another warm one out there today, and a lot of people enjoying it, but we were talking in the break. Someday we're going to get our payback for this nice weather.
Yeah, sometimes you get into spring and it flips. Weather's all about a balance. I just hope it isn't that April, May, like we were talking, those cold rains that last for days and days. But we could use the water, though, because there's not a lot of precipitation, unfortunately, in the forecast, so we need that as well. Recap of the records: 57 today on Groundhog's Day, which is Sunday, going for highs pushing a near record high, which was 51 back in 2020. I think we'll be very close to that. I think, Jimmy, probably going to be not seeing a shadow Sunday morning, as we do have a couple of snow shower and rain shower chances Friday morning, that's south of Madison, Saturday night, and then Sunday morning, with those clouds clearing out a little bit later and then cooler next week. Back to normal.
All right, Alex, thanks. We're back in 30 minutes for News 3 Now at 6. The CBS Evening News is next.